Before we get into today's video, if you're new and you like basketball, I really think you would love this channel. So if you haven't already, feel free to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, be notified whenever I release a video. I make videos that take elements from film essays and apply them to basketball videos. I also make videos that are breaking down NBA draft prospects as well as high school prospects, like before they go to college or wherever they end up. So if you're interested in either of those things, again, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe. I'm trying to reach 5,000 subscribers soon, so doing all those things, again, big help to me. But let's get right into today's video, talking about the G League. This is not some big prospect breakdown video. They've only played one game. It's really ridiculous if you're overreacting to one game for any prospect, so just know that's not a breakdown. It's just me kind of giving you my thoughts from today, on top of kind of comparing it to what I already believe about these guys as prospects. Going to be talking about the 4 G League Ignite prospects that play today, because Kai Soto did not play today. He would be the 5th player. And let's actually get right into that. The first prospect I want to talk about is Jonathan Kuminga, who was easily, in my opinion, the most impressive prospect from today for G League Ignite. 19 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 turnovers, 9 for 18 shooting from the field, 1 for 7 shooting from 3. When he was attacking the rim, he was unstoppable. Like, there was nobody that could handle his physicality, no one that really could stay in front of him either. He's just so physically imposing for someone that's only 18 years old, and only turned 18 like a few months ago. Like, he was born in October, so to be this young and this physically imposing is impressive. His finishing ability was great. I think he only missed one attempt when he drove to the paint. And every other time he drove to the paint, he either made a good pass or he finished, which was happening more times than not. Now, he did settle a bit for jumpers at times. He shot 50% from the field, and he shot 1 for 7 from 3. So if he was either, driving to the paint instead of taking those 3-pointers, or was just passing it because he knew that it wasn't a good shot, if he did those things, his field goal percentage would have been a lot higher than it was. Like, his 3-point shooting today really tanked his efficiency, and he was relatively efficient from the field overall at 50%. I do think it is encouraging that he is confident enough to take that many 3-pointers, but he definitely does need to reel it in. And he needs to use his physical tools to his advantage more instead of settling for 3s at times. But I definitely think he was more aggressive than, not aggressive. That's a weird way to say it, but, I think he was definitely aggressive when he attacked the rim, and you knew what he was doing most of the time, and that's what you like to see from him. He made some really nice passes as well. His 4 assists, I think all 4 of them were pretty impressive passes. He's a good passer when he wants to be. There are definitely times during the game where, he didn't pass when he probably should have. And, he's young. He's going to learn. Again, he's only 18 years old. I think he'll learn from this. The concerns I have with him are still noticeable. The decision making as a passer, the shot selection issues. But what I really liked about him as a prospect was on full display as well. And you can definitely tell this is a very talented prospect. He just needs to put it all together, and I think the G League is going to help him do that, because he has all the physical tools. I think he has all the talent in the world, and once he puts it all together, it's going to be hard to stop him. He was basically unstoppable today, and you could tell he hasn't put it all together. So if he's this good against, grown men, like, the G League is significantly better competition than the NCAA, and he looked really good when he attacked the rim against grown men. What is he going to be able to do once he puts it all together? Like, the thought of that is just scary. And I'm excited to see where he goes from the season. I definitely think the shooting is going to be inconsistent moving forward. It just is with young players to have shot selection issues. But I definitely think over time, those are things that can improve. The next player I want to talk about is Jalen Green, who's probably the most popular name going into the 2021 NBA draft. He had 11 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 turnovers, 4 for 10 shooting from the field, 1 for 3 shooting from 3. Now, many of you may know I'm not the highest on Jalen Green. I'm not low on him. I definitely still have him in my top 10, but I don't have him as high as a lot of people do. He had a rough start to this game. He wasn't getting a lot of shot attempts, and he felt like he was forcing the shot attempts that he did get. But he started to get going in the second half, and you definitely saw the talent that a lot of people do. But you can definitely tell throughout the entire game that he had a hard time adjusting to a new role. He's been a ball-dominant player almost his entire life up to this point, from middle school to high school, AAU circuits. He's been the guy. And, he just had to adjust to a new role. And it's a tough adjustment. Like, you'll see it all the time with players at Kentucky, where they go from being these ball-dominant high school players to all of a sudden they're being told to play off ball and move around. Like, it's a tough adjustment to make. And, I don't think that, it's an indictment on Jalen Green that he didn't have a great performance today because he had to adjust. On top of that, you have to remember, the last time he played a competitive basketball game, it was against high school kids. And given that context and knowing that this is his first, official game since high school and his first time going up against grown men, I think he was fine. I think the problems have more to do with the fit with the team, which was something I was always a bit concerned about. But the talent is there. He showed some impressive shot-making signs. I definitely think he's more of a shot maker than a shooter, but he's a really good shot maker. The handle is a bit rough still. It was something I was worried about going in. He has nice setup moves, but the moment he tries to attack or create, it just kind of falls apart for him. He had a couple turnovers because of that. I think he's going to adjust and he's going to be fine. And I think that, going to a situation like this is a good thing for him because, you're not going to have the ball in your hands all the time once you get to the NBA, unless you're one of those upper echelon players. It's not guaranteed you're going to be that. So learning to adjust and learning to play off ball is important for everyone. And I think, Jalen Green is definitely getting that by going to the G League and learning to adjust. I think, again, he's going to be fine. The next player I want to talk about is Daishen Nix, who had 12 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 turnover, 4 for 7 shooting from the field, and 1 for 1 shooting from 3. I will say this. Every team in the Pac-12 that's not UCLA is lucky that he decommitted from UCLA and ended up in the G League system. Because if he was in UCLA right now, he would be dominating. He is so fun to watch. He's a bully ball player. And he was able, to take, again, grown men that have gone through college and have experience in the NBA, at least for most of them, and he was taking them. And, he was driving to the rim with ease and was able to just out-muscle these guys. He moves well for someone that's 6'5", 230 pounds. But I still think he does need to get down to around 225, maybe 220 pounds. Not the biggest concern, but definitely something to look at. It will just make him even more dangerous because I think it will increase his speed. But again, he did move well at a pretty rare size for a guard. I didn't see a lot of the passing, but what I did see was encouraging. And there's nothing really about his game today that really discouraged me at all. I'll be quite honest with you. He drew contact well. You want to see him take more three-pointers at times. But, the one that he did make looked pretty good. And, his ability as a player, I think he's going to be somebody that, as these games go on, he's going to go up a lot of people's draft boards. Because, his combination of, size and skill is not one you see very often. And I think once, the passing comes along, not necessarily as a skill, but once the G League ignites, so it's using him as a passer more because he's a very gifted passer. I definitely think that, again, he's going to go rising up the boards and it's going to be, higher than, a lot of you guys think. And the final player I want to talk about today is Isaiah Todd, with 2 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover, and shot 1 for 4 from the field. Did not take any 3-pointers. I didn't see much from him today, I'll be quite honest with you. He had a nice little mid-range jumper that he made. I think that was his only field goal. And then he tried to self-alley-oop in traffic, which honestly was very questionable, to say the least. I want to see him play more before I give full judgment on him. He's an interesting character, or should I say player, not character. I'm not talking about a movie, I'm talking about real people. He's an interesting player in the fact that he was somebody that at one point was at the top of the rankings. You know, his sophomore year, he was the #1 player in the country, and then he kind of just slowly began to go down to the point by his senior year. He was like 15th by ESPN, 30th by 24/7 Sports, and 20th by Rivals. You know, going from the top to like outside the top, 10, that's a drastic fall, I'll be quite honest with you. And he was originally committed to go play for Juwan Howard, obviously, in the school up north. And, they ended up decommitting. And there's no really judgment I can make. Like, I'm not going to judge him based off his decision to not go to college and instead take this route. Personally, I had a second round grade on him going into the season. And I'm not gonna raise or lower that grade based off one game, obviously, but if he thinks this is the best route for him, good for him, and taking charge in his own career and carving his own path, and that's important. And doing what you think is best is always something that I will respect when it comes to these prospects and the path they choose to make for getting to the NBA. I think he's going to be fine. The G League is a great place to develop him. And we'll see. He didn't play great today, didn't get a lot of opportunity today. Maybe in future games he will get more opportunity. I hope he does, because I do think he's a talented player, and that's all I really gotta say. I kind of just, it is what it is with him. Like, I'm not gonna say much. Like, there wasn't a lot on tape that I really noticed with him. He had a good defensive play. Now that I think about it, this is hypocritical, because I just said there wasn't much on tape to show about him. He had a good defensive play on Jeremy Lin. Like, he looked really good. Like, he held his own, and he forced a tough shot and ended up missing. So, I definitely think that we'll just see with him. We'll see. But that is the end of this video. If you've made it to this point, thank you so much. Let me know down in the comment section below, what are your thoughts on the G League Ignite debut? How are these guys gonna do? Who's your favorite player maybe on G League Ignite? Things like that. Let me know all that kind of stuff down in the comment section below. But again, like, subscribe, do all those things. Help me reach 5,000 subscribers. Make sure you follow my social media. Links to those in the description as always. I have a new Twitter, by the way. If you didn't know that my old Twitter account got suspended, so I'm using a new Twitter now. I'll put all of that in the description below. You guys don't have to worry about that. But with that being said, have a nice day.